Hello there folks, back again for another video. In this one I thought I would dive into some of the digital assets that the folks at Games Workshop have put together for the Middle-earth strategy battle game and also the new edition of the game. One of the things I've talked about in my various Armies of videos, looking at the different books and things that have come out for the new edition, is that there are a series of PDFs, as you can see here, that are all sort of designed to fill in the gaps and support some of the unsupported models when it comes to your games of Middle-earth strategy battle game in the new edition. These aren't officially supported when it comes to Games Workshop events, official ones, or events sponsored or supported by Games Workshop. However, if you are using them, then you have to make sure that you let people know so that they can be sort of thought about and sort of worked through when it comes to building armies and things like that. So as you will see, you get a whole series of new profiles as well as army lists. I should note I'm going to be looking at the two Legacies of Middle-earth PDFs there for Forces of Good and Evil, as well as some of the scenario packs and things that have come out for the game as well over the last little while. We're obviously missing one from the end of here for the Battle of Five Armies, but I'm sure that will be coming soon, and I'll look at that in the future as well. But start off with the Legacies of Middle-earth and the Forces of Good, and we'll scroll through this. So, for those folks who are missing out on the classic Banderbus Took, he is there in all of his glory for 50 points. Wonderful option to see him still included as part of this, which is really nice. So if you're looking to do one of those older Hobbit style forces, then you can drop him into your forces and away you go. And as you can see, you can actually do the Battle of Greenfields, which is one of the army lists, which we'll look at in a little bit as well. You also have a lot of the other sort of legacy figures that have sort of gone through the motions, as it were. So there's the Knight of the White Tower, there's Anborn, the Ranger of Ithilien, Mablung, the Ranger of Ithilien, and Syrian, or Kyrian, however you want to say it, Lieutenant of Ammon Barad. So if you're looking to throw those in alongside various armies, you can see that, and you'll see noted down below where you can drop them into various army lists. So if you're looking to use these from Minas Tirith, you've got them for Minas Tirith, Top the Walls and Defenders of Pelennor, the Garrison of Ithilien, and then Minas Tirith at the bottom there as well. There's also one of the Man-at-Arms of Dol Amroth, which can be slotted in alongside Prince Imrahil and his ilk, and with that one you can use him as part of Defenders of the Pelennor, Men of the West, the Fiefdoms, and the Grief of Eomer, which is great. There's also one of my favourite characters for Rohan, which is Grimbold of Grimslade. It comes in at 65 points. Really enjoyed using him, and will continue to enjoy using him because I will drop him into any army I can. So anyone in his warband still gets the same thing, where they can be upgraded to Helmingas for 1 point per model, giving them a strength of 4 rather than 3. And he can be used in the Kingdoms of Rohan army list, or the Fords of Eisen, which is the one where you can have Theodred charging out against the bad boys. You've also got the profile for Erkenbrand there as well, another famous miniature from the Rohirrim range. He has the option to create the Westfold red shields, as you can still see there as well. So you can drop him in, and he carries the Horn of the Hammerhand, so you can kick ass and take names with him. There's the King's Huntsman, who is back, as well as Eorl the Young, if you want to do one of those forces from back in day. Legendary hero, Spear Mastery in there as well. So a lot of the things that you would have expected from these characters have carried over into the new PDF, which is nice to see. You've also got the Sons of Eorl and the Rohan Outriders for Rohan. And then another of my favourite characters is the addition of Gildor Inglorian back into the mix. He's one of those miniatures that I was looking for a very, very long time. I managed to find him on eBay not too long ago, so snapped him up. He still has the ability to do the Noldorin Exiles if you want to go down that route, which is really cool. So you can mix and match in that sense. It comes with his new magical powers, which are based on the ones that you will find in the main rulebook, and he can be used alongside the Road to Rivendell army list if you're looking to build him into your collection, which is quite cool. So that one from the armies of the Lord of the Rings. So you could create a nice narrative force in that sense there. You've also got Arestor still carrying through with his Noldorin daggers, which is cool, as well as the Rivendell Stormcaller. So there's another one of your mages, but a basic sort of hero mage, and the Lothlorien Stormcaller, if you want to go down that route as well. Another big favourite for me, obviously, is the fact that we've got some dwarven stuff in there as well. So Balin and Floy were sort of taken out of the Kingdom of Khazad-dûm list that you would have seen in armies of Middle-earth. And so the reclamation of Moria has now been sort of slotted in with this PDF here, rather than being as included as part of that main rulebook. But he still gets to walk around with Durin's axe, as you can see there, and he's also the Longbeard, so he still maintains his ability from previous editions, as well as Floey with his lore master ability, which is absolutely fantastic, and living lore as well, which is really good too. So nice to see them back. The King's Champion and the Herald are also still in the mix for the reclamation of Moria, and you can also include them, and well, as you can see there, actually it says you can include them as part of the Kingdom of Khazad-dûm, which is fantastic. And also one for the Dwarf Shield Bearer there as well. So those folks will be in the Moria one, and they're in the Khazad-dûm one. There you go. I still have that model, the Dwarf Shield Bearer, but I do not have, I don't know why I pointed at the screen, but there we go. But the King's Champion and the Herald are ones that have eluded me so far, but maybe I'll have to find them online somewhere. And Murin and Dra are two more of my favourites. They can be used as part of the Iron Hills army if you're going down that route. And you can have them in there as well, and they obviously come with their unique abilities and all that kind of stuff. And Kalazal is the unique hand weapon for Murin there, which is great when he's striking orcs, goblins, and Uruk-hai. And here we have the army lists. So the Battle of Greenfield 1 is the one that includes Banderbus Took. It allows you to take him, who is the army's general. And you get a whole series of special rules alongside him. So the Bull Roarer, the Dangerous Folk wandering the wilds, the Rangers of the North can be included as part of your force as Heroes of Fortitude. There's Defenders of the Shire. So anyone around Banderbus gets the Dominant 2, and then the Bounders as well, which is great. So natural ones, re-rolling natural ones when making shooting attacks. So you've got some nice options there for a nice thematic force. The Fields of Celebrant. You've got an excellent sort of classic historical army for you to play around with there, which is really good. So this is where you see a mixture of both the sort of Minas Tirith warriors and also the classic Rohirrim as well. And you can sort of bring them all together to create a fun new force. And then you've also got the Reclamation of Moria, which is one of the ones that I'll be sort of focusing on, I think, where you can actually include Ori and Oyin in there as the champions of Erebor, which is a really nice touch, I think, alongside the rest of the different characters. Where you've got Reclaim Moria, The Desperate Defense, and Balin's Last Stand, which is really fun. I'm going to be having a lot of fun with that one, I reckon, when I drop that in and play around with that and see how it all comes together. But yeah, that's on my list. And then you have the Expedition to the East, which is the one that would draw from Shadows of the East, I think, which is the supplement from way back in the day, as well as some White Dwarf articles as well, which allows you to bring Murin and Dra together with Kirion, or Sirion, the Lieutenant of Amon Barad, to use them as a combined force fighting alongside the Eastlings, which is very, very cool. So yes, a nice little army there that sort of caps off the good faction, as it were, and offers up some really nice ways for you to use more of the miniatures from inside of your collection, especially a lot of mine. Over to the evil side of things, there is a lot in this one. There are 48 pages for you to dive into here, so you've got a whole host of different profiles for a lot of the Mahud stuff, the Kandish, the Dunlendings, as well as a whole host of new army lists as well for you to take them and use them with. So we'll go through this one and see what we think. So all of the sort of classic named ring wraiths have been included back in here. So you can see you've got Carmel the Easterling, who a lot of people will know he's actually one of the named characters from the books. There's the Tainted, the Dwimmerlake, the Dark Marshal, the Shadow Lord, the Undying, the Betrayer, and the Knight of Umbar. So you've got some nice ways for you to use your classic figures there. I always quite like the idea of doing the 9, but using these miniatures, so it was much easier for you to sort of like pinpoint exactly who was who on the tabletop. I thought it was really cool that Games Workshop went through the effort of actually trying to create some interesting backstory for all of the different ring wraiths, the Nazgul, and sort of built up some interesting character behind them beyond what we already knew for the likes of the Witch King of Angmar and obviously Camel the Easterling as well. So it was good to see them there, and it's nice to see them back on the tabletop as well, as you can see there, which is nice. So some good options on that front. You've also got a lot of your sort of mighty orcs from the Morannon and beyond. So you've got Goroth, Zagdush, the Captain of the Black Guard drummer. So this is a mixture of some of the Forge World resin figures that were out a few years ago, and sort of bringing them back to life alongside a lot of the classic old metal figures. So you've got things like the Morgul Stalkers and the Black Guard in there, as well as the Orc Trackers. And the Great Beast of Gorgoroth, which is a massive figure and a really nice one as well. So it's nice to see that back. Grobblog is back for the Kingdom of Moria, which is really nice with his lovely mithril crown. A really nice option there for the forces of Moria, alongside Ashrak with his spiders, so you can summon them up around him and create some sneaky times as you poison your opponents. It is very cool. The Moria Black Shields are also fully covered in this. So if you wanted to do a Black Shield focused army, you could do that with the Captain, the Shaman, the Drum, and the regular warriors, as well as the Warg Marauder, as you can see there, which was another one of their fun models from back in the day. And even the Dweller in the Dark gets a look in, which is very, very cool. So it's nice to see that model, as painful as it was to try and put together, included back in here as well, for some sneaky devilish dealings down in the darkness. You also have some fun stuff for the Uruk-hai. So you've got Vrashku Mahur as well, and the Feral Uruk-hai too. So if you're looking to create a bit more of that scouting force, then you can build those, as you can see there. Mahur obviously can be used with Lurtz's scouts or Ugluk scouts, and Vrashku is for the Army of the White Hand and the Muster of Isengard, similarly for the Feral Uruk-hai as well there. If you're looking to dive into the Dunlending side of things, then there's a couple of different options for you on this front as well. Again, this kind of fills in a lot of the gaps and builds up on what was included as part of the sort of older supplements for the last edition. So the ones that covered War in Rohan, War in Gondor, that kind of thing. So here you've got Thryden Wolf's Bane back again, alongside Goroth Ironskin and Frida Tallspear, who were two of the Forge World resin miniatures that came out alongside that, and the War in Rohan. You've also got the Dunlending Chieftain, the Dunlending Warriors, the Dunlending Horsemen, which were relatively new, and then the Huskarls there as well. So if you're one of those lucky people who managed to get a lot of these metal models back in the day, then you've got another option for you to use these on the tabletop and have some fun. Maybe mix them in with some of the options that you can find in plastic from the new War of the Rohirrim set, and go from there, I suppose, which is very cool. You also have some funky stuff there. So there's the Castellan of Dol Guldur. So if you're looking to build something based around the Rise of the Necromancer and the Army of the Hobbit, you have some options on that front. And then we get on to some of the stuff from the east of Middle-earth with the Haradrim King, the Golden King of Abrakan, which is really cool. One of my friend's favourite miniatures, the Abrakan Merchant Guard, is back in there as well. Those tubby fellows who will twist your head off, I'm sure. If you're a fan of Sharp, you know exactly what I'm talking about there. And also the Watchers of Karna, which are very awesome. Love the look of those models. They really did some fantastic stuff to build up these various alternative civilizations and stuff like that exist within Middle-earth on the fringes. There's also all of the Mahud stuff. So you have the Mahud King, the Tribesmaster, and the Warriors, which are nice. The Mahud Raider, the Half-Trolls, which were really lovely models, and then all of your Candish stuff as well. So your Candish King on the back of his chariot, alongside the Chieftains, Warriors, Charioteers, and Horsemen. This is one side of Middle-earth that I never really got into. All this stuff came out when I kind of dropped away from the Middle-earth strategy battle game. So to see all this still being covered by the folks at Games Workshop is really, really good. And it means that a lot of those people who, as I mentioned before, have these miniatures in their collection will have some nice options for them to dive into. There's also the classic Corsair Reaver that can be dropped in with your forces of Umbar. Nice little option there on that front. And then some more of the stuff from the Forge World portion there. We've got Rajgush, the War Leader of the North, and Musgur, the Orc Shaman. So if you're looking to do some fun bits and pieces where you're battling against Erebor and things, then you can have Rajgush in there and Musgur. There's also the sort of counterpoint to the the Hobbit leader from the first PDF. If we go back to him. So if you've got Banderbrush Took on one side, then you'll have Golfimble on the other, who can ride out against him on the green fields, which would be very nice to see. And then you've also got the Spider Queen, and then we move on to our various different armies. So if you're looking to battle through Mirkwood, then you have that option there for the Fell Beings of Mirkwood, where you can bring together Rajgus and the Spider Queen in one place, which is a really nice bonus there. Very cool. And there's also the Assault of Lothlorien force there as well, so if you wanted to build that up a little bit more and use some more of those forces, you can do. This kind of covers a lot of the other sort of fringe battles and stuff that happened during the War of the Ring, beyond what you kind of know from sort of Minas Tirith, Pelennor, Osgiliath, Helm's Deep, and that kind of stuff. There's also the Army of Dunland there, so if you're looking to bring out your classic Dunlendings, then you can go for that one, which is really cool. And also the Variags of Khand, for those people who want to do your Khandish armies. Again, nice, simple, thematic lists, allowing you to use all of the miniatures in your collection, which is always nice to see. And it was good that they did these as free PDFs, because, you know, it's a little bit of goodwill, which is always helpful. And then there's Far Harad as well. One of my favourite ones that I think would be really fun is the Ravagers of the Shire one. So this is the one that you could pit against your wonderful Hobbit forces. So you've got Golfimble there leading the way as the Orc captain, who can be mounted on the back of his warg. And he has a couple of different special rules there, which would be worth diving into, with Golfimble's Rage. May declare heroic combat each turn for free. Very cool. The Courage from Ignorance. While Golfimble is still alive on the battlefield, friendly orcs gain a bonus of +1 to any courage tests they're required to make. Really fun. And also Overwhelm the Foe. They get a +1 bonus to wound when making strikes against an enemy model that is outnumbered in combat. So a good reason for you to flood the board with Mordor Orc Warriors, I would suggest. So some really nice options there for you to play around with. And definitely a fun army list in the round. And then last of all, you have the Spider Queen's Blood. So if you want to make a full spider army, you can do that. Dive in and get your hands on these. I should mention that if you are somebody who can't get their hands on these models anymore because they're out of print, they're not being supported by Games Workshop, and by that extent it's very hard for you to get your hands on them. There are a lot of companies who do very, very nice alternative sculpts for pretty much all of these, I would say. You can find them online either as STL files, or you can find them as metal figures as well, if you look hard enough. And these would be nice to see brought to the tabletop once more and used in a whole bunch of tournaments, I would think, which would be really nice to see. So yeah, definitely worth having a look through both of these PDFs. I'll have the links down below, so you can go and look through those and tell me what you think. In the round, I think it's great that they were included. It's a bit of a shame that they weren't just put inside the Armies of the Middle-earth book, but I suppose when there was limited page space anyway, they had to drop some models, and I'm sure some licensing issues came in as well alongside that. So offering these for free is just a wonderful bonus from the folks at Games Workshop, which is, as I say, always good. Free is always helpful. Beyond that, I wanted to go through some of the scenario books and things as well. So these aren't massively in-depth, but this sort of covers a lot of the narrative scenarios rather than the match play ones that you will find that sort of tie into the movies. These were scenarios that you tend to find built into the back of journey books and things like that, or the Quest of the Ring Bearer. In the old days, they would have been included as part of the 3 main books for the various movies, and also, of course, for The Hobbit as well. So it's nice to see them popping up once again. So if you're diving into the Fellowship of the Ring, so on the narrative scenario front there, we have some great stuff here covering the battle on Weathertop, the classic fight in Balin's Tomb, which is very cool. And it gives you some ways for you to set up your boards. Lovely 2x2 affairs for a lot of these, which is really nice. So you've got some nice skirmishy style adventures for you to dive into, and it tells you exactly which miniatures you need. So if you're one of those people who likes hobbying to a target, you've got some nice ways to go here. So if you're going to be playing Balin's Tomb, you know that you need to put together all of the Fellowship, obviously, alongside Moria Goblin Captains, 24 Moria Goblin Warriors, 8 with shield, 8 with spear, 8 with bow, and a Cave Troll. If you've been collecting for a while, you probably have all of these sitting around in your collection somewhere. I would guess. You've also then got Amon Hen to finish things off, which is just a 4x4 board for that, and it's been set up as a great one and done style scenario for you to play out Amon Hen without having to go through building 3 or 4 different boards and then playing that out, which is really nice to see. So some good options on that front for the Fellowship of the Rings. We then start to expand things when we get to the 2 towers. So we have the Ambush at Night, which is where Merry and Pippin are trying to escape from the Uruks and the Orcs on the fringes of Fangorn as the Rohirrim are charging in from either side. You have the last march of the Ents, where Treebeard and his kin, along as you can see there, Birchseed and Beachbone and 3 other Ents, are trying to smash their way in, flood Isengard and bring down the tower with Saruman inside it. You also then have the Siege of Helm's Deep, which is another 4x4 affair, as you can see there, which has been designed for you to play out that battle atop the walls. And again, there's quite a few models for you to use in that one, some nice options for you to sort of collect towards in that sense, which is really nice. And then you've got a variety of different special rules and objectives worked into that as well, which is very, very good. And then, that is it, obviously, for 2 towers. I thought there was one more, but that is in fact it. I thought there might have been one where you're fighting inside the Hornburg, but they have not included that in this one. You've just got the battle on the walls, which is fun enough anyway, and it'll mean that you can build a fun board as well at the same time, or just make it out of play blocks. And then moving over to the Return of the King, we have a whole bunch of new scenarios in here as well. Well, not new scenarios, but revamped scenarios. So you have the Escape from Osgiliath, which is a classic one for you to drop in there. You'll know that a lot of folks have played that out as part of the Osgiliath box set and things like that. So that's an option for you to use there, which is great. And also the Battle of Pelennor Fields, which is a fairly huge one for you to be playing out on a 6x8 board with a lot of figures per side. It's going to take you a couple of hours to play that. And then there's also the End of All Things in there as well, which is where you're fighting out the 2 battles, where you have one outside the Black Gates and then another at the Crack of Doom, as Frodo and Sam are rushing up there to try and throw the ring across the edge, which is very cool. And you've got all the special rules that then tie into that. So not an extensive collection of scenarios for the different movies, but something for you to work towards if you are looking for an interesting sort of hobby challenge, as it were, as I mentioned before. The Hobbit has not been left out. You have some narrative scenarios here on this front as well. And I actually think the Hobbit narrative scenarios would be really, really fun to do and collect towards, because I don't think a lot of people really picked up a lot of the miniatures from the Hobbit range. So this might give you some good opportunities to dive into that collection and start bringing these to life on the tabletop. So for An Unexpected Journey, so the first movie, you have Roast Mutton, which is the battle between the dwarves of Thorin's company against the trolls, and seeing how that works. You also have the classic Escape from Goblin Town, where you can build an insane battlefield covered in all of those platforms and things that you got in that original box set. I wonder if you can still get those anymore. You might need to use a lot of coffee stirrers to build up the Escape from Goblin Town board, but there you go. That's something for you to consider. And then you have Out of the Frying Pan and Into the Fire. So if you're looking to bring together a couple of different army lists focused on Thorin with Orcrist and that kind of thing, alongside Azog with the White Warg, and you've got that option there. And then, of course, the Eagles flying in to help as the the scenario comes to a close. Very cool. And then last but not least, at least for this video, we have some stuff for the Desolation of Smaug. So this is some new options on that front. So you have Flies and Spiders, the Unseen Hero. So this is Bilbo Baggins sneaking around as he tries to avoid Mirkwood giant spiders and get to the dwarves, which is very cool. So as you can see, the game will last until the end of the turn in which one player completes their objective. The good player wins if Bilbo is able to free all of the dwarves by revealing one of the correct markers or by killing all of the spiders. The evil player wins if they are able to kill Bilbo before he can do this. So very cool. And here you can see that you can really use the power of the ring to move around unseen and that kind of stuff. So a fun scenario, I think, in that sense, for those people who want to play out a cool scenario that's a little bit different from the norm, which I think is the case with all of the Hobbit scenarios that you see here. You also got the Flies and Spiders, the Elves of Mirkwood one, so you got the part 2. So this is the rescue by Legolas and Tauriel alongside their Mirkwood Rangers, battling against the Spiders once again alongside Thorin's company, which is very nice. And then as we move through here, we also then have the Lake Town escape there too. So this will be great for those people who want to play out a pretty badass one versus many style affair. So you've got Legolas Greenleaf, Prince of Mirkwood with Orcrist going up against Bolg, Spawn of Azog, Fimble, 24 Orc Hunters, 6 with bows, 6 with... Oh, there we go. So lots of fun stuff on that side. And you've got those sneaking assassins going through. But then to sort of combat that, you then have Legolas's Fury, where Legolas increases his attacks to 3 and his fight value to 7. So he's insane, which is very cool. So you've got to have those sneaky assassin orcs working their way through Lake Town, making good use of all those plastic kits you have lying around, whilst in the background, of course, Legolas is trying to hunt down the orcs and bring them low. So a whole host of good bits and pieces in there for the different movies. So you've got stuff there for the Fellowship of the Ring, the Two Towers, the Return of the King, the Unexpected Journey, and then finally the Destination of Smaug. I'm sure there'll be a Battle of the 5 Army one that will go there, and I'll do another video on that in the future as well. But if you're looking for some more good information, pardon me, to start playing your games of the Middle-earth strategy battle game, but in a narrative sense, or if you want to just play around with different army lists using more of the miniatures from your collection, make sure to come and check out all of these PDFs over on the Warhammer community website. I'll put all the links down below for this particular set of PDFs, so if you have been hunting them out, you'll just be able to click those links once and it will take you right there. Let me know what you think in the comments down below with all of your thoughts and things like that about the 2 different PDFs for the Legacies of Middle-earth, alongside each of the narrative scenario booklets that also come alongside that as well. It'd be nice to know what you think you'd like to see next from them that would be done via free PDFs. Is there anything that they've missed that you think they should bring back? Is there particular army lists and things from the 2 Legacies of Middle-earth PDFs that you're going to be playing yourself? Please let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, do all of that good stuff, and make sure, as always, to get a conversation going, because I love hearing what you have to say. But yes, this kind of caps off everything that has been released effectively for the 3rd edition. Well, not the 3rd edition. I think it's further than that. The new edition of the Middle-earth strategy battle game. Correct me down below. And yeah, I'll be back with another video very, very soon. Bye for now.